can we talk just a few minutes about why a plant-based diet and how a plant-based diet can provide the protein needs, not just for a normal person walking down the street, but we're talking professional bodybuilders that are trying to put on, 10, 20 pounds a year as they're bulking up and becoming these great athletes that you see on the stage. How can they get their protein and do that? How does that work?
Yeah, Alan, well, first it starts with the fact that plants have all the essential amino acids that we need. The amino acids are the building blocks of protein. You eat a variety of food, you're going to get the amount of amino acids you need and the amount of protein you need if you consume enough calories based on your real calorie needs. That's the big thing, right? So if you're a figure skater weighing 105 pounds, you're going to have a different protein needs than a power lifter who's 240 pounds. And so you have to understand, and I like that we talked about that a few minutes ago, Alan, is that it's the same, it's essentially the same diet for all sports. It's just a different calorie intake and maybe a slightly different macronutrient breakdown, a little more protein here, a little more fat here, a little more carbohydrate here, depending on the type of sport. But it's the same diet. It's still sweet potatoes and blueberries and lentils and oats and potatoes and kale, like you mentioned, and walnuts, and it's all the same foods. It's just getting the right quantities. And so for protein, you can eat more foods that are considered more protein rich, like nuts and nut butters and tofu and other soy foods, and legumes tend to be a little bit higher in protein, though still very much a carbohydrate food, beans and lentils and such, and some leafy green vegetables. But there's also some tricks you can do. I mean, everybody knows in different types of athletics that you can do things like smoothies, right? You can put nut butters in smoothies. You can put a bunch of greens in there. You can even, believe it or not, we mentioned in the book, you can even put like tofu or white beans in smoothies because you're adding raspberries or blueberries or peanut butter and chocolate, and you're giving it a flavor that is enjoyable and palatable. Well, it's packed full of imagine if you just put it in a bunch of pumpkin seeds or cashews or, whatever nuts and seeds are your favorite, or you can use a powder, supplement if you want, but you can do it totally whole foods. And so a smoothie is a great way to add extra protein if you like. You can also just make a conscious effort. So let's say you're having oatmeal. Well, why not put some walnuts on it or something else that's, protein rich, with your oatmeal? If you're having a salad, why not put garbanzo beans all over it? In addition to the leafy greens and the peppers and the mushrooms and, whatever else you have in your salad. Why not add some of those things? One thing I like to do, even just with a rice and vegetable dish, is add cashews on top, add peanuts on top sometimes, other nuts. And so you can make this conscious effort to get a little more protein here and there in very tasty, very accessible. A peanut butter sandwich is as simple as it gets, right? It's not difficult. And one of the messages I really like to make as clear as possible is that if you know what your calorie needs are, and you can use the Harris-Benedict calculator, Harris-Benedict equation to figure that out, and use Chronometer or MyFitnessPal to determine what your intake actually is. If you meet your calorie needs, you are almost absolutely sure to reach your protein needs, because nobody, not a single person eats only celery or only grapefruit or only oranges during the day. We all eat a variety of stuff. We all eat to some form of variety, maybe a little bit of legumes here, a little bit of grains, a little bit of fruits and vegetables and nuts, seeds, or omnivores, some meat or dairy, whatever. We all eat a variety, and that's how you get the amino acids. And then your body pools all those amino acids and uses them throughout the day. You don't need to have complete protein in a single meal. And because we don't do anything in a single meal, you don't reach all your nutrient requirements in a single meal. You don't reach your hydration requirements in a single meal, or your fiber intake in a single meal. Very, very rarely. It's the accumulation of everything that we consume throughout the day and on an ongoing basis, on a weekly, monthly, yearly basis. And so that is how you reach your protein needs, by having adequate calories based on what your calorie needs are, finding foods you enjoy, and then eating them on a regular basis and seeing the results.